Hey everybody, this is Alex Merced Coder from this is Alex Merced from AlexMercedCoder.com, and welcome to day 11 of the 100 days of Rust and Go. And we're kind of getting through a lot of we're kind of getting towards the end of a lot of just the fundamentals of these languages. But today what I want to talk about is just another type of data structure, okay, that you'll see in both, which is like a map. It's called a map in Go, called a hash map in Rust, but the way to think about it is key value pairs. Now, what makes this different than, let's say, a Python dictionary or a JavaScript object or a Ruby hash is that in those languages, you could have any value of any type in the thing. So you could have numbers, booleans, etc. Now, in a map in Go or a hash map in Rust, all the keys have to be of the same type and all the values have to be of the same type. Okay, and let's just make one. Okay, so let me just clear all this stuff out from when we were doing the OOP stuff. Okay, this is Rust, so let me go over the Go first. So let's just delete all the things. Doot. Okay, and essentially what you want to do is, let's say we want to make a map that has, it's basically a map of strings for like state and capital. Okay, we're not going to do every state, I'll just do a few states just to kind of get the point across. So we'll do something like this, map, or we'll say states or capitals equals, using the walrus operator so I don't have to do typing, a map. Okay, and then in the map what we do is we have to type the key and the values, so the keys will be strings and the values will be strings. Okay, and then we can create it. So first we'd want to do is, like, I'd say, hey, the first thing is we're going to say it's California. Well, actually, no. Let's do New York, whose capital is Albany. Unexpected. Okay, and then I can just kind of continue doing this. We'll say We'll say Connecticut. Capital Hartford, and theoretically I can just make a whole hash or map like this, and then what I could do is I could print out the value by doing like fmt dot println, and then we'll just print capitals, and then we access it through square brackets. So I'll say, hey, I want to access the capital of NY, and let's run the program. Okay, and in this case what I want to do is just go run.go, and yeah, see, there it goes, it prints Albany. So pretty straightforward. Okay, at the end of the day, it's like you're just creating keys and values. I could change the keys to numbers, I can make the keys booleans, I could make the keys, I can make the values anything, you can make them structs. Although I don't know if you can make the key structs, but I'm not going to try that out right now. But yeah, so that's what it is. So basically, if you just need a plain key value pair, and you're not worried about mixing types, like everything's going to be the same type, everything's going to be a string, everything's going to be a number, then a map is a great option, okay, for what you can do. Okay, and again, you can do a map of structs. So if you have several structs that you want. So for example, let's say you want to have a struct of people a map of people in town in particular positions, and you have a person struct. You could have like key mayor, which equals this person, mailman equals this person. I mean, it just depends on your needs in the application. Now let's do Rust. Okay. So in Rust so far we've gotten pretty far without having to really import anything externally, whether it's like a third-party library or even a standard library. So in this case, we will have to bring in something from the standard library, and you know what? It's been a while. It's not thinking of the keywords using. Using is for like C#, if I remember correctly. So let's do that. HashMapsRust. Okay, here we go. So use is the word I was looking for. Okay, but basically you would import it. This is how you would import a library that you have available to you. We would then create a new hash map. Okay, so essentially we'd always have to like create the hash map first, and then we can insert things into it. So I don't think there's a way where you can just create all the keys and values up front that I'm aware of. No. Okay. So let's go play with that. So in that case, I want to do the same thing, and actually let me just see how they typed it first too. Okay, book reviews, but they're just going to detect that. To inference list is omit the explicit types. I guess it just does it based on the first insert. What if I did want to type it? Yes, that I give an example. Okay. Easiest way to use HashMap with a custom key type. So deriving key and hash, we must also derive parts. But we'll talk about deriving later. So deriving is going to be a way for you to like generate certain features on a struct pretty easily. So what you do is you put in these like little annotations. Kind of, they're not a decorator, but they're like a decorator. The difference is like these are going to be like the macros with the like print line with the exclamation point, where this generates a bunch of code at compile time. So the compiler reads this, injects a bunch of code that then gets compiled. Like this isn't the thing that gets compiled into code, but the idea is that this isn't to allow you to inject certain like boilerplate code very easily where needed, for such as implementing certain traits and features in certain structs. So we'll talk about different derivable attributes at some point in the near future. But let's see here. Okay, I think I get the point. Okay, well that's how you would. This is kind of how you would type it. So key value. Okay, all good. That's fine. Okay. So I'll declare a hash map. So actually, first we need to bring it in. So use standard dot. I don't think it's dot collections. It's the colons, isn't it? Boop 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 boop. Yep, double colons. Double colons, so collections, colon, hash map. Because essentially the way, if I understand it correctly, when you have external modules, things from the outside, they're essentially treated as kind of like, not necessarily a struct, they're treated as like, it's called a module, but it pretty much works like a struct. So these are essentially like, when you refer, these are static properties on that module. So essentially you're using that same kind of syntax you would use to access like static static members of a particular struct. So essentially I'm saying, okay, there's a standard library. Inside of standard library there's a thing called collections, and inside of collections there's a thing called hash map. I'd like to use it, and what it does, it allows me to use it in its own namespace. So if I could have just done standard collections, but then I'd have to be like collections colon hash map every time I want to use hash map. So this allows me, what it does, it takes the very last piece and makes it its own namespace available in my code going forward. So I can say like let states, or let capitals equal, and then we'll just say like hash map new. That should create the new hash map, and then I need a semicolon up here too. And then I should just be able to do capitals, even though I spelled capitals wrong, because, you know, capitals, dot insert, and then I can just be like, okay, Connecticut, this capital is Hartford, capitals, dot insert, New York, Albany, and this should be a string too, so let's fix that. Okay, so now we have our two entries, or two insertions inside the hash map. Now the question is, how do we access it? Okay, Okay. Yeah, I just want to access the key. I don't think it's like square brackets like before. I think there's a function to access it. Okay, if book returns key, print line. We use that length, so you can actually get the length that way. And you can use this contains key to see if there's a particular key in it. Okay, match book reviews. That's right, nothing's like inherently iterable in Rust. That's always fun. Okay, so essentially what I'd have to do is I'd have to use matching. That's always fun. Let's see if there's any... Or I could... Actually, no, you could use square brackets. Yeah. Will panic if the key is not found. So that's like the one downside of that. Like, if the key is not there, the program will just throw a fit. Okay, and that's always the idea. Is like you do this stuff to kind of avoid panicking. Because again, what panicking means, it's throwing an explicit, unrecoverable error. So the program is just going to shut down. So the idea is that if you don't... Rust is trying to like really kind of force you to prevent that if you can help it. So that way like the user doesn't run into a situation where they cause an error and the program just shuts down, because you've really kind of controlled for all that with matching and all this stuff. So I could use matching, and this way I make sure that the key is in there. Okay, or I could use like, hey, I could check if the key exists. That's another option. These are all fine options. Or I could just do this. And it looks like, okay, in this case, get book, let's see here, book reviews dot get book. Just show some keys. Where was book reviews? Where is book defined here? Okay. To find. Oh, okay. So this match thing here, so what we're doing here really is actually they're checking to see if any of these books in this array exist in there. So it's basically really what you're doing is you're looping over the book. So you're saying for each book into find. Okay, so essentially it's a for loop. Then they're matching. Okay, and then basically if there is a match, then it prints the thing. If not, then it just be like, this book hasn't been reviewed yet. Okay. Got it. Okay. Cool. Okay. But yeah, okay, so bottom line, let's go back to printing things here. So then I can just like print line, just like we normally would in Rust. Say that, and say, hey, I want to print the capital of Albany, or the capital of New York. So I can just sit there and say capitals New York, put a semicolon, and that should be it. So let's go open up the Rust. Open integrated terminal. Okay, run. First I have to do rustc run.rs and run the compile file /run, and of course capitals cannot borrow as mutable. I should declare it as mutable, shouldn't I? Okay, because we are altering it. Let's see here. And then that works. Okay, so again, just keep in mind that we want to declare that is mutable, because again, you are changing it after the fact by inserting things into the hash map. And yeah, that's it. Okay, so again, if you want to do key value pairs, not through a struct, then, because you just need a single pair where all the values are going to be the same type, then yeah, you got a hash map in Rust and you got a map in Go, and that'll do the job. But aside from that, that's really the main thing that I wanted to discuss today. So that is day 11. I'll see you guys later on for day 12. Ciao.